Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. The birds are singing, there are so many bees behind me, and it is officially spring, though it has felt like spring for a little while here now. But I have so much going on in the garden. We have officially passed our last frost date, though we have not had a frost for a few weeks now. So we're all good there, and there's so much happening in the garden that Nutmeg and I want to share with you. So without further ado, let's go check it out for our March garden tour. First order of business over here is our orchard, and these might just look like trees, but underneath all the foliage are a bunch of peaches. These are getting substantially bigger. They started flowering mid-February, I want to say. And we are at the point where we are almost ready to put some bags over these guys to protect them from bugs and birds and things like that, because someone over here is not the best at keeping the birds away from these. So I have peaches there and a lot more peaches here. Some branches I think will need to be thinned a little bit, but I was waiting to see what would take before removing any. Unfortunately, my plum did not give me a single fruit. This is a Santa Rosa plum, which is a Japanese plum variety. It is apparently self-fertile, but nothing this year. And then my little bay leaf does have new growth. It has really taken off over the past, I would want to say week or two, is when it really started to open up these new branches and new sort of buds of green. So that's doing really well. Back to the raised beds. I have mostly been prepping these to add peppers now that we are past the frost date. I guess I could have added the peppers a little while ago, but I've just been so scared of a freeze damaging my hard work that I have not planted them yet. Unfortunately, this bed, the onions that we planted together really didn't do that well, but in the other two, they did great. So I don't really know what was wrong with this one. I have been removing a lot of the cover crops, though I did save some of the daikon radishes to harvest the seeds. So I will be doing that soon. This one too, I've been slowly chopping away at everything. I have been waiting to see if the cowpeas would actually flower and give me anything, but so far they haven't, so I'm not really sure what's up with them there. And then this is my main pepper bed where the onions have been doing the best over here in this bed. And here's my first parasitic wasp of the season, but I think he just flew away. He's flying around, but they are great to have in the garden. My chives have made an amazing comeback. The leeks are doing really well here. And then my blue salvia is about to flower. I love having this plant in my garden. The bees love it. It's just so pretty. All around a great plant. Next to it here, I did put in yesterday my first peppers of the season. I bought a 6-pack of cayennes. I do have a problem with the grackles ripping them out of the ground. So these are my tomatillo cages that my husband made for me, and I put them over so that the grackles can't get in here for a while. And then I do have a lot of volunteer peppers and tomatoes over here that I'm waiting to get bigger before I separate them out. I guess we'll be zigzagging around the garden in a little bit of a different way today, but these are all of my dragon tongue bush beans. They all sprouted except for one, and then I did not have as much success with the edamame or soybeans as I did last year. I did plant a second round of them. I did plant them a little early, so maybe that's why it just wasn't quite hot enough. So I have some there, and then nutmeg, I'm pretty sure, is sitting on a few others. The savory I did chop back a month or two ago, and it is exploding with growth, so I'm gonna have to chop it back again. And then next to nut, I have my kohlrabi, which are getting closer to ready. Not quite ready yet because I planted them way too close together, but there's one. And then back here, I have my shelling peas. A few of them are pretty much ready at this point. I'm excited about that. And then I have a lot more flowers. I love the flowers on these plants. They're some of my favorite. And these are honestly one of my favorite crops to grow, peas in general. They're pretty cold hardy, and then they can tolerate temperatures up into the 80s. So all around, they're a great plant to grow in your garden, and you don't have to worry about spacing really at all. If you can see here, I have planted these pretty much right next to each other, and they will grow just fine onto this trellis that I have. Nutmeg is intently watching birds that are flying around here. Next to it, here in the front of my garden, this is sort of the remnants of what's left of my root veggie garden that I did over the winter. I already harvested all of the radishes here. I have a few left here. Parsnips take a long time to mature. Typically it's about 4 months. So I am still waiting on these. They're getting closer though. And then I have a lot of scallions in the back, as well as 2 different types of beets here. Though I would say they're probably ready. I have been eating the greens quite a bit, and I did harvest 1 beet already, but I think they're all pretty much ready now. I also have these golden beets. You can see by the yellow here. Let me see if I can show off a beet. Yeah. So they're more of an orangey gold color. They're all pretty much ready right now. There's a couple of small ones, but other than that, they're all ready. And then I have my sugar magnolia purple peas. They take a lot longer to start flowering and producing than my other peas, but they are pretty. I really like looking at them. These get really nice and big. If they start to stray from the trellis, I just help them out a little bit, but they're a nice plant to grow as well. They're not as cold tolerant, but they are more heat tolerant than some of the other varieties of peas that I have. Over here, I have what's left of the collard greens, which are being enjoyed by bees everywhere. There's just so many bees in the flowers at all times, pollinating them for me, and I will be able to harvest some seeds soon. So I am enjoying them a lot. I really like the structure of the flowers. They're very thick compared to the bok choy, which I'll be showing shortly. Then over here I have my Snap Daddy. This is a sugar snap pea. The flowers look the same as the shelling peas, and I have been saving some for seeds, so I've been letting the pods get really big, but you probably want to eat them when they're at this stage. I will be eating some of these tonight, so I'll be picking these, but I didn't have a lot of seeds left over, so I have been slowly saving more seeds for next year because this is the most cold tolerant pea that I have. I also have a few rows of garlic that we planted together when I just had so much garlic and I didn't know what to do. So I planted garlic in this bed just to not waste it. And then I have been starting for summer some watermelons, 4 different types. I have 2 yellow, a red, and an orange. This is Mountain Sweet Yellow from Botanical Interest. I also have Orangelo that I saved the seeds myself over there. This is the Crimson Sweet red watermelon. This one is from M.I. Gardner, I think. Here's one that's popping up right now, actually. And then I have the Janosic from Baker Creek Seeds or Rare Seeds. This is the other yellow variety. Behind it over here, this is another bed that is in transition. I still have a few fennel plants that I am slowly eating. My Komatsuna, as you can see, has completely bolted. It is full of aphids, but that also means that it is now a trap plant for ladybug larvae. And I saw one yesterday, but don't know if oh, there he is. Okay, let's see. Oh, there's an adult ladybug. But if you see that little guy, see how well the new camera will focus. Not super well. That little black guy in the middle there with the orange stripes, he is a ladybug larvae, and he will get nice and fat eating all the aphids on here. So I typically leave a few trap plants every spring just to help out the ladybugs. And then I started for my summer crops this Martian Jewels corn, a whole row of it here. And my broccoli rabe I've just let go as well. The bees like it just as much as the other brassicas. And then finally for summer, I have started a bunch of cucumbers. I have 2 cucumber varieties and then gherkins as well. I think those are the gherkins. So first time growing gherkins are just supposed to be super small cucumbers, great for making cornichons. So I'm really excited about that because I am somewhat addicted to cornichons. I really enjoy eating them. So that's the story for that bed. Behind it here is my favorite bed in the garden. This is my original herb bed, and it is so full. I love all the plants growing into each other. It just makes me really happy to see. I have the oregano, the saffron that just continues to do nothing. My bronze fennel, this is just for the swallowtails, honestly. I have sorrel right here. I have 2 different types of sage. My variegated thyme This is more of like a lemony flavor time. My original rosemary plant, a nasturtium I just put in the ground, so it's looking a little scraggly. Parsley, my blue borage, thyme, and marjoram back there. The blue borage is a lot of fun. The pollinators really like it. It is edible. Technically, it is edible. The leaves apparently taste like cucumber, and I think you can use the flowers for tea. I just love blue flowers, so I love the look of these guys, and the bees like it as well. So it's a lot of fun to add a pop of color to the garden, and hopefully it'll be a prolific self-seeder because I want this everywhere. I just want more and more of it. Behind it here, this is my blackberry bed. I'm not sure if we had this built during my last garden tour, but my husband built me a nice containing trellis because this thing was sprawling out everywhere. But I do have some fun things to report. There's a lot of buds on this plant and even some flowers. So I'm thinking we're going to have blackberries pretty early on this year, which is really exciting. I don't think we had them this early last year. And then I have some extra onions in here as well as some beans just because I wanted something to grow before it got too hot. I also have in the back pink salvia just for the pollinators. It's a fun one. I got it from the clearance section at Lowe's when we first moved into this house 2 years ago now. Then I have some hyssop and some brew in the back there. As we continue to snake around, I have my asparagus bed. The asparagus is going crazy. It's so tall. And I have my Swiss chard, which is recovering still from the freeze, but it's getting bigger now. The yellow one unfortunately did not make it, but the red and the peppermint chard did. I also have a few smaller asparagus stalks that I planted back here just to keep adding to the asparagus population, and then some cilantro that I started from seed coming up, as well as some dill back there. This I started from seed in the fall and then finally got around to planting it out here. It's a really good companion crop for asparagus and I just love eating it. So nice to have in the garden. Here is my recovering artichoke bed. The artichokes are doing much better now that the weather is warmer. I'm hoping finally this year I will maybe get some actual artichokes to eat because I think they're so underrated. I love eating them. I'm also turning the other half of this bed into an herb bed. So I have bronze fennel, parsley, I have more oregano, some brew, tarragon back there, as well as my new lemongrass. I finally ripped out the old dead one and put in a new one for the year. This does so well in my climate, so I'm very excited to grow more of that this year. Next to nutmeg, this bed, we actually are just prepping to put in some squash. So we're going to use this to put a shade cloth over so that the squash vine borers can't get in here. And I'm hoping to have some zucchini this year, but next to where that's gonna be, I just have my rosemary, and then I have my bolted bok choy, and you can see this plant is just going crazy. I don't know, it is nearing the end of its life, but I'm going to have thousands upon thousands of seeds from each little pod. So I am definitely going to be sharing this with family and friends because I don't even know if I will ever need this many seeds, but these were very productive plants over the winter, very tasty. They grow really quickly. So I thought, why pay for more seeds when I could just collect some more, you know? Over here in one of my 2x6s, I still have some cabbages holding on. I don't really know when they're considered ready. I don't think they're ready yet. They still seem kind of small, but it is getting really warm, so I don't know if they'll bolt on me if I leave them in here too long. I don't know. I'm gonna have to read the packet, I guess, that the seeds came in and see what I'll have to do about that. But I do want to get tomatoes in here soon, so I need to clear all of this out. All the volunteer carrots, the leftover leek, the cabbages, they gotta go at some point soon. And then this, not much to report. This is my garlic bed. Still waiting for those scapes, but hopefully I will be able to get them soon. Otherwise, it's about where it should be for this time of year. I think this is what it looked like last year, so nothing crazy to report there. Here I've got my carrots. I'm still working on thinning them out. I really am. And I have my celery planted in here. 3 plants. This is the Chinese white celery from Baker Creek Seeds. So that's growing nicely now that I have it in the ground. It doesn't dry out quite as often and it's a lot healthier, which I'm very happy about. And then my kale is still a monster, still crazy, but I am getting some strawberries soon. Got a few herbs in here, but it's mostly just the kale and the strawberries. But oh, we're starting to turn color. I do have a slight roly-poly problem in here, so I am worried about the strawberries. I might have to pick them a little earlier than I would like, but other than that, same as usual in here. This bed is really starting to fill out with lots of nice things. I love my variegated sage. It's just so pretty. It is a nice touch of color to the garden. And of course, the German winter time is one of my favorites to grow. So I kind of put it in places wherever I can. And then finally, the last two beds, I have my broccoli, which is of course bolted. Not much of a surprise there, given how poorly some of the other brassicas have done. But the bees are enjoying it, and that's all I can really ask. They're having a good time. And I do have some broccolini. These are separating quite a bit, but I was harvesting broccolini for a little while, just small broccoli shoots. And then I started my tomatoes. I am so excited about this. This is the apricot zebra from Baker Creek Seeds, and then a sun gold. I picked these both up yesterday at Tillery Street Plant Company, and I'm just so excited. I am so excited for tomato season and for all of the warm weather crops that I'm gonna be growing soon, and I'll fill in more tomatoes here shortly. Here's a quick update on my potatoes. I have it almost filled up to the top with dirt. I need to put in a few more inches, but I also need to go buy more dirt to do that. But I'm hoping within the next month or so, it should start flowering. And then a month or two after that, I'll be able to harvest potatoes once this all dies back. That's just my guess. But I do know that sometimes the gold potatoes take a little longer. Then of course, my compost bin back there. Not the prettiest thing to see, but I figured I'd show it off. Finally, I have my seed starting area, and I do have all these peppers that are ready to go into the ground soon. This ahi rico pepper from my mom's seeds is doing really well. This jalapeno early slice, I started both of these back in October. They overwintered great. This is one of my little flower pots that I just have my swallowtails waiting to hatch, just waiting. And then my truly overwintered peppers that I plucked out of the ground and cut back are doing great. This is my candy cane bell pepper. I love this one so much. It has the most beautiful foliage I've ever seen. And then my long thin cayenne already has a lot of blooms, so I'm very excited about this one. And my jalapeno recently just started activating some growth points, so these should be ready to get in the ground after this weekend when I have some time. And of course, the seedling table. It's looking a little sparse right now. Still have my determinate tomatoes I need to put in the ground, and a few other tomatoes and things that are sprouting. I've got eggplant, leeks, all sorts of things right now. And then another tomato that I purchased, not tomato, this is a pepper, obviously. So another pepper I purchased I need to get in the ground. And then my dragon fruit is doing really well. These cuttings that I was able to save, they overwintered and they're starting to grow. There's lots of new growth points on here. So hopefully I can get this into a bigger pot soon. So that is it for our garden tour today. I feel like there are so many new things happening in this garden, and it's spring and I'm so busy out here every single day, but I am happy to also share it all with you because this is what truly brings me the most joy, is be able to garden out here with Nutmeg, who really loves being out here as well, chasing bugs and birds and sniffing flowers and doing all of the things. So if you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.